Hi, Miami. The first official weekend of spring break in 2024 here in the city. And I must admit, Miami Beach looked like Twilight Zone last night. I've never seen Miami Beach during this time of year looking the way it did last night. It was almost as if I stepped into the multiverse. It was empty, lots of police presence, barricaded, all the parking spots gone. Gone. Not taken, gone. Places you thought you could park in Miami Beach were no longer parkable. I've never seen the city like this. Now, is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? Now, some would suggest this, what's happening is good. This so-called breakup with spring break in Miami Beach. Some people say it's bad. I walked around. Thankfully, I had a parking garage that was provided by the venue where we did the comedy show last night. I had a parking spot, but it was 20 minutes away from where I had to be. And as I'm walking down the sidewalks of Miami Beach, I looked around. It just wasn't the same. For the first time ever, the people that were out in the streets during spring break in Miami Beach were the actual European locals. Everybody was speaking a different European language in the sidewalks. From the hours of, say, from 8 to about midnight, it was just local Europeans walking up and down the streets of Miami Beach. It was insane to see. And then around midnight, after I got some late night pizza after the show, is when the party people started coming out. But I think it was the people from the mainland coming into Miami Beach thinking it was going to be lit, but it wasn't. So you had lots of people dressed in nightclub attire. You had the ladies going out thinking there was going to be a party. Lo and behold, there wasn't. And all we did was just realize how quiet Miami Beach was this year during spring break. It was an incredible thing to see. I'm surprised no one documented just how empty it was last night. There should have been newscasters everywhere, just seeing how the wind, just hearing how the wind blows, seeing the empty streets. There was way too many cops last night. It was a bit overkill. How many police officer presence there was in comparison to the people on the street. I think there were more police officers last night in Miami Beach than there were pedestrians. Rest in peace to all the businesses in Miami Beach that thought they were gonna come up last night. There's nothing more painful. There's nothing more painful than expecting you're about to get paid and then you don't. You ever worked for someone and they said payday was on a particular day and then they gave you an excuse as to why you're not getting paid that day? That's exactly how the businesses of Miami Beach felt last night. Everybody thought it was going to be business as usual. It doesn't matter if there's chaos. It doesn't matter if there's mayhem. You're getting paid. Okay? Sure, there's fights. Sure, there might be the occasional shootout. Sure, there might be reggaeton music and trap music blaring out of a slingshot as it drives down. People yelling, people twerking, but you're making money. But the locals and the politicians have had enough of the chaos. And now businesses had to suffer last night. It really did look like the apocalypse last night. It really looked like you woke up and everybody in the city was gone. I never heard the wind blow in Miami Beach in my life. I've never heard it. Like in the streets. I didn't know it was so windy in Miami Beach until last night. Fort Lauderdale was booming because we got mostly good crowd, but not troublemakers. All right, so Dunning-Neal says that they don't get any troublemakers up there. Yeah, but you know why? Because you attract nothing but people in Margaritaville clothes with silver white hair and red skin looking like Ric Flair. All the people that go to Fort Lauderdale and all the beaches up north past that during spring break, they're already retired. They've already partied. They've already experienced their crazy years. Now they're just relaxing. Okay, it's not fair to compare Fort Lauderdale Beach with Miami Beach during spring break. Those old people already had their fun. They like going to bars that play the Pina Colada song. That's a good time for them. They'll dance to it. They'll twirl around. If you like Pina Colada, they're having a blast because their lives are full of tranquility and peace and all that boomer money that they've accumulated when prices were better. So Fort Lauderdale Beach does not apply in this situation. I'm going to point out that spring break we're not really broken up with spring break. We've only broken up with a particular version of spring break. When you break up with someone and you go for someone else and you make sure that it's an upgrade, this is what Miami Beach is doing right now. This is what Miami as a whole is doing right now. They're looking for the upgrade. They're not necessarily getting rid of spring break in particular. They just want to get rid of that one weekend where it's chaotic and maybe figure something else out. And in this case, we can look into the ideas that I presented on the previous podcast where I talked about raising the tourist experience, providing a street takeover tour experience, a Cocaine Cowboys tour experience, an Escape Room Miami tour experience. If we add those options into our city, we can definitely upgrade spring break. Another thing we can do to upgrade spring break is we block off that particular weekend that's chaotic, and then we just split that group into all the other dates that we've got going on. And then they blend into the crowd. So you can still come to Miami Beach during spring break, but you're going to have to partake with all the other crazies that we've got during that time. So for example, you can't make it obvious. You can't cancel spring break on those particular dates and then have Miami Music Week the week right after. You got to put a buffer. And what does Miami do as the buffer between the chaotic spring break and Miami Music Week? They play tennis. The Miami Open is coming next weekend. And this is your opportunity to partake in watching people from around the world playing tennis. All right, we add a little culture in it. We add a little sporting event to it. You can't make it obvious. And then right after that, we get into the parties. We get into the real spring break. Just like we did in 2020 in Florida, where we lied to 49 states in 2020 that we were closed during COVID, when we actually were partying, is what we're doing with spring break. We're saying we're breaking up with spring break, and then 2 weeks later, we're actually partying. So all you got to do is just move the date over. All right? Because Ultra Music Week is that same week. Okay? You got people from all over the world, all the crazies from all over the world, evenly distributed in Miami. So those that wanted to bring the chaos, you got to mix in with other people that want to bring the chaos. And then you all blend together. And you block all our streets, and you cause all that traffic, and you just bring up that revenue that we want in the city. We want your money, but we want your money in a decent, docile, profitable way. That's not as harmful as the chaos that happens in Miami Beach on that particular weekend. I just want to point out also that there was $100 parking. There was hardly any parking, really, because they barricaded all the good spots. The residential areas were still open. Tow trucks were hidden in the corners of the streets. All right. I think I saw a tow truck hiding behind a dumpster, waiting for somebody to park in the residential area. They were out. They were looking for you. They were making sure they were going to make their money. There was $100 parking. And the weirdest thing was that as you enter Miami Beach, they check to see if you're drunk before you go to the beach. I was stopped right before I went to my destination. From my house to there, they stopped me, right? They squeeze in all the cars. A cop knocks on your window, shines a light in your face, looks you dead in the eye. Where you going, boy? I had a black friend on the passenger seat, and he shined it to both of us. And they check your ID to make sure you're a local, right? Because I could imagine if my ID said or my tag said that I'm an out-of-towner, yeah, step outside the vehicle, sir. What's wrong, officer? You look like somebody that's making the city unaffordable. You match the description. So the DUI checkpoints last night were real. And there was so many cop presence in Miami Beach that I think it was overkill. Every single block, like the intersection, had a police car in the middle. I've never seen that. It looked like it was like a zombie apocalyptic lockdown. It looks like we were in North Korea and someone said, F Kim Jong. And then the whole North Korea was on lockdown to see who yelled that out. What do you think of our president? I love Kim Jong. It was a dictatorship last night in Miami Beach. Way too many cops. But I think if you look at this in a bird's eye view, this can actually make us upgrade after the breakup. We're going to get to the next level. I got a theory as to why some people might say that this breakup is good. When you look at the characters and personalities that you meet that want to party here in Miami Beach, they're almost trying to out Miami us. And I think that's the main issue as to why some locals are against the people that come during spring break. Because these people are arrogant, they want to party hard, and they're willing to spend a lot of money to do so, okay? And to be honest with you, Miami, the brand, the identity, has some of those characteristics involved as well. All right? This doesn't prevent fights and shootouts. It's just a concentrated version. It's a condensed Miami happening during a particular time of the year. And I think when Miami sees the mirror of itself, that's not Miami, it gets upsetting. Are these people trying to out Miami us right now? Oh, hell no. We're the real Miami. Get those people out of here. I think that's, psychologically speaking, I think that's one of the things that bothers the locals. People trying to out Miami us. That's our identity. We do that shit. We're gonna make sure spring break is evenly distributed to all the people so that you guys can bring your money and keep the chaos under control, or lack of control. Because Miami is becoming one of the hottest cities in the entire nation. It's almost like we're America condensed. All we want to do is have some fun without the Sheryl Crow song involved. We just want to spend our money while the sun's out. We want to party. We want to watch tennis. We want to get day drunk and night drunk. We want drugs easily accessible. We want beautiful women. We want celebrities. We've got it here. Whether you're a local or someone visiting, you can appreciate this kind of thing that we're bringing as a city. The thing is that spring break is too many of y'all coming at the same time. So we got to evenly distribute this. So let's go to the next event here that's happening right after, or during rather, the tennis open. And you can't get any dorkier than this. And that is pickleball. That's right. There's a pickleball presence happening in the city of Miami. This is the kind of changes we're seeing in our city. After we got the buffer, that is tennis, so that it's not obvious that we're trying to get rid of a particular version of spring break, we then get into the real Miami spring break, the one that everyone is involved in partaking, and that is the Miami Music Week. Now, I've been to a couple of parties in my time during Miami Music Week, and let me tell you, there's nothing more intoxicating than some of the best DJs in the world coming to our city and all the various bars, lounges, and nightclubs spinning what seems to be like 24 hours, 7 days a week. Or rather, 5 days a week, however long Miami Music Week is. Every single nook and cranny of Miami Beach will have a DJ. They don't even have to be well known. Somebody can start a DJ career during Miami Music Week. You can go to your local barbershop and somebody will be spinning there. You can go to a local Cuban bakery and some guy from Hialeah that decided to learn how to DJ is practicing at that bakery. Okay? Everywhere in Miami, there's going to be some sort of DJ playing, and it's going to be part of that weekend. That's what we do. during Miami Music Week. Everywhere will have a DJ. And they'll be ranging from newbies to nationally touring DJs. I'd like to point out that we shouldn't be calling ultra. It should be ultra. That's one thing that we have yet to realize as a city, that the rest of the world can call this event ultra, but when they come to our city, we say ultra. That's the best way to break up with spring breakers. All the celebrity breakups that you've been following throughout history, in the tabloids, on TMZ, in whatever, this is an even bigger breakup than that, because not only does it affect the locals, not only is it a decision made by politicians, but it's also affecting local businesses. But it's also affecting all the other events we can go to during spring break, because now these are going to be the new options we have during this time of year. So I'm excited to see what's next for Miami in March. There's lots going on. All right, a little tennis right between, so it's not too obvious. And then you've got the parties coming right back. If you guys think that the breakup was a good thing or a bad thing, make sure you guys leave a comment. I'd love to hear your feedback. Don't forget to follow us on all social media. Make sure you subscribe to that. And thank you all very much for tuning in.